I never thought a simple girls' trip could turn into one of the most eye-opening experiences of my relationship. But here I am, typing this with a mix of disbelief, anger, and relief. My girlfriend and I had been together for nearly 3 years. On paper, we seemed like a normal couple. We shared an apartment, split bills fairly, had routines, and generally enjoyed each other's company. She was outgoing, fun, and always the life of the party, while I was quieter, more reserved, and content to let her take the spotlight. We complemented each other well, or at least I thought we did. One Friday morning, she came into the living room, coffee in hand, smiling brightly. "Hey, babe, I'm going on a girls' trip this weekend. My friends booked it last minute, so I need to go. Don't be insecure, okay?" I nodded, forcing a casual smile. "Yeah, sure. Have fun." Inside, my stomach churned. Something about the casual way she said it, the insistence that I shouldn't be insecure, triggered a mix of doubt and suspicion. But I pushed it aside. I wanted to trust her. I told myself I was just overthinking things. The trip came and went. Or at least, that's what I thought. She returned on Sunday evening, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't hers, slightly flustered but smiling. I greeted her at the door, trying to act normal, while inside, my mind raced with questions. "Oh, it was amazing," she said. "We went shopping, danced all night, and had such a blast. You really need to relax more, babe." I nodded again, smiling. "Sounds fun." I didn't confront her. I didn't ask about every detail. I just smiled, because deep down, I had already noticed patterns that didn't add up. Over the next few days, little things began to make sense. The texts she forgot to send, the late-night calls she claimed were work-related, the social media posts that didn't match her stories. I pieced together evidence quietly, without confronting her immediately. Then came the moment that made everything clear. I was checking emails for something work-related when I noticed a reservation confirmation in her inbox. Not for a spa or a hotel with friends, but for a private dinner for two at a romantic restaurant. The date? Exactly during the girls' trip. I didn't panic. I didn't rage. I simply smiled. I had all the information I needed. I didn't need confrontation to know the truth. I realized she had used the trip as an excuse to see someone else, and her insistence that I was insecure was a manipulative tactic to cover her tracks. When she returned later that evening, I acted normal. She smiled at me, expecting me to greet her with questions or excitement about her weekend. Instead, I just smiled, calmly, peacefully. Inside, I felt a mix of anger and liberation. I knew the truth, and I didn't need her to confess. I didn't need her to apologize. The knowledge itself was empowering. Over the next week, I quietly gathered more evidence, social media messages, photos, timestamps, all confirming what I already knew. I realized that this wasn't just a one-time mistake. This was a pattern of deception, manipulation, and disrespect. She had consistently dismissed my feelings, gaslighted me, and used excuses to cover her actions. I confronted her eventually, but not in the heat of the moment. I chose a calm evening, sitting down with all the evidence laid out. I said, "I know about the trip. I know who you were with and what you were doing. You lied to me, manipulated my feelings, and tried to make me doubt myself." She laughed nervously. "You're being ridiculous. I told you it was a girls' trip. Stop overreacting!" I smiled again, this time a deliberate, controlled smile. "I'm not overreacting. I'm finally seeing the truth. And now, I'm done." The rest of the conversation was surreal. She tried to spin it, justify her actions, and gaslight me further, claiming I was controlling and paranoid. But by then, I had nothing to lose. I had already processed the humiliation, the betrayal, and the manipulation. I walked away, calm, composed, and finally free. Months later, I reflect on that moment with clarity. The girls' trip wasn't just a lie, it was a symbol of the disregard for my feelings, the lack of respect for our relationship, and the emotional manipulation she had perfected over years. That smile I wore when I discovered the truth wasn't weakness. It was empowerment. It was the moment I realized I didn't need her validation, her explanations, or her excuses. I had the truth, and that was enough.